Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Elizabeth Dutton.
Aaron Burnett, you old so-and-so.
I love seeing the smile on your face when you walk in the door sometimes.
Thanks.
I mean, all the time I like seeing it, but like sometimes you walk in with a smile. You don't always walk in with a smile, but I always like it when you do.
It's drugs.
Okay, well, keep doing them because they're strong.
I've been hitting this new street drug called Advil.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
The kids pushing it on you?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I like to ride the Vil.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you know what's ridiculous?
I do know it's ridiculous.
Prove it.
Let me give you a little backstory. This isn't going to take a whole long time.
Okay.
I officiated a friend's wedding a few years back, and another friend of mine, Lisa, Lisa, if you're listening, I'm about to tell the story. We're talking the night before, and I told her that when I was doing the, officiating, I was gonna, before I got up, rub chocolate pudding across my teeth and do the whole ceremony like that. And then she was calling me old puddin' tooth. And we laughed, Zaron.
I can tell.
Zaron, we laughed. We still talk about it occasionally.
That's why she calls you old puddin' tooth to this day.
Old puddin' tooth. So keeping that in mind, there's a tooth care brand called His Smile. And I think I've talked about them before doing stuff.
Probably.
And so you think like, well, if I was old puddin' tooth, I'd need to use toothpaste to get the pudding off my teeth before I officiated a wedding, right?
I'm so praying this is not a mashup.
Well, the Lord doesn't always answer a boy's prayers because His Smile has teamed up with Reese's to offer Reese's like peanut butter cup toothpaste.
I assume this would be like a Cadbury egg Easter thing.
No,
so Reese's
it's just Reese's peanut butter cup toothpaste.
Oh, God.
So you too can be old puddin' tooth.
Why would they do this?
It tastes like Reese cups, but with a cool finish, as they say.
A cool finish.
So it's sugar free. Don't worry about it. It has fluoride in it.
You hear
Sorry,
that?
RFK Jr.
You hear that, parents? Run
but
out
it
and get some.
says it delivers the signature Reese's flavor, although I prefer the southern pronunciation of Reese cups, not
I know
Reese's.
you do.
Up front before finishing with His Smile's cooling after feel. It's only
His Smile is just an interesting branding.
There's a lot going on there. Like it's
you
sort
should
of like
smile more.
Yeah, but also it reminds me
His
of those
Smile.
ads like during football season where it's like, oh, we got to be nice to each other, and it's like an ad for Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Well, His Smile sounds like Jesus toothpaste, like because
okay.
it's capital H.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like the Lord's smile.
Yeah, but not in this case because it looks like
cursed.
chocolat when you put it on there. And so here's the thing: you can only get it in Australia and New Zealand via His Smile website.
Okay.
So they're attacking the Southern Hemisphere first before they move north.
Doing some test marketing down there.
Yeah. So if you want to be Puddin' Tooth Jones, this is a way to do it and clean your teeth at the same time.
Yay.
And for anyone listening in New Zealand and Australia, do not spend the money to send this to us. I love when you guys do stuff like that, but please don't give them any money. Don't encourage this. And that, my friends, is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Puddin' Tooth Jesus toothpaste.
Do you know
Amen.
what else is ridiculous? Old
What else is
Puddin' Tooth?
ridiculous?
The price of a new home in America.
Oh, God, tell me about it.
Right? And some people, Elizabeth, will do anything, and I mean anything, to own their dream home. And I mean anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah. This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous.
Yes.
Elizabeth.
Zaron.
Today, I want to tell you a story about a dream home.
Okay.
Not like a Barbie dream home, like a real dream
Like
home.
an actual, like, I have dreams about it.
Well, I guess you might call it a castle, a dream castle.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And what one man was willing to do to afford his dream Castle.
Yikes.
Now, I know you have frequent flyer mileage on that website Zillow. Like, you love Zillow, right?
I do. I love it. It's so good if you're nosy.
I know, right?
It's amazing.
You send me text messages about it, and I'm like, yeah. Sometimes I look, not always.
Most of the time you don't.
No,
That's okay.
sometimes I do. Like if you sell it well enough, but like I just don't find the same delight you do. But I respect your game, right?
Thank you.
So I went to Zillow for this story.
Nice.
And I want to show you something.
I mean, you've never been walking down the street and looked at a house and been like, I wonder what the story is there.
What do you mean the story? Like the cost or like how many bedrooms they have inside?
The history. What are you paying in taxes? When was it last purchased?
What would be your mortgage payment?
Did you not have the realtor scrub it so that the listing descriptions are still in there and all 40 pictures?
Oh, yeah. Good call.
You know?
So I know that this is not a visual medium per se, but here I am.
Thank God.
I'm going to call up a page on Zillow because you need to see this dream house.
Okay.
I mean, dream castle.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you some pics. And if you don't mind, if you could describe what you see. And now if you want to play along, you can go to Zillow and check out the address. The dream castle is located at 5650 Canyon Woods. That's Canyon Woods, like trees, all one word, Canyon Woods Drive in Billings, Montana.
Billings, Montana.
Yeah, zip code 59106.
Okay.
Now, this home was built in 2014, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
And now away we go.
Dream Castle sounds like it's 1986 and like you're a junior high kid who's all into like fantasy heavy metal, and that's the name of your band.
Dream Castle.
Dream Castle.
So,
okay, so let me look
there
at
you go.
this
There's
here.
the opening slide.
Oh, okay.
Now go to the second slide.
Second
and Elizabeth,
slide.
can you describe what you're looking at?
This looks like a ski resort that like Kevin Costner invested in and then forgot about. It's like, wait a second, what is it all hand hewn from the rocks around it? It's
Kinda.
It's stonework on the outside, right?
All stonework on the outside. It's a castle. It has like a whole stone tower. It has a moat.
You could say that.
So check a few other slides, but stop at whatever one catches your eye. But tell me when you get to
the whole thing looks like, I've never been in a Great Wolf Lodge, but if you told me this is a Great Wolf Lodge, it looks like a ski resort, like outside of Tahoe.
Right? Now tell me when you get to the laundry room.
Oh, there's a good laundry room? These people do their own laundry?
You'll notice it has 3 side-by-side washing machines and dryers.
There's so many kitchens.
Oh, yeah. We'll come back to that.
And like everything's beige.
Yeah. Have you gotten to the 3 side-by-side washing machines?
I'm going through. I'm looking at like the office with all the empty shelving where books should be, but these people don't own books.
These are not book readers.
Oh, wait, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so there's everything, by the way, is like pre-manufactured cabinetry, and then like marble floors, marble counters, and then 3 washer dryer systems, like stacked,
like one on
okay. And I love that they have to illustrate folded towels on the table.
So this is the laundry
you can't put books on the bookshelves.
Now keep going and tell me when you get to the bowling alley.
No, okay, yeah. Now this
the double bowling alley, actually. Two
this
lanes.
must be just riveting for people to listen to me go, oh my God.
Now doesn't it look like somewhere you'd bowl if you're in the home of like a Las Vegas casino owner?
Very much so, because it's part of it is like what I'm trying to describe to people here is that it's not so much like an organic decor of like you build a house. This looks like the inside of, like you're saying, like a casino.
Yeah.
So it has like plank wood walls that are artificially distressed.
Yep.
And so they run lengthwise on the wall. So it's like you're in an old barn, but you're also bowling.
Yes.
And then there's acoustic ceilings. Like, I don't know what's happening here.
Slide a couple of more frames ahead and tell me when you get to the shooting range.
Oh, I'm at the shooting range.
That's a legit indoor shooting range.
Okay, but
you can go full John Wick in there.
That's terrifying. Yes. But also on the walls, it looks like there's nothing in those racks, but I swear to God, those look like wine racks.
Yeah, they took
all the shooting range.
They took all the guns out. So
I'm just going to pretend that's a shooting range / wine cellar.
Yeah, wine cellar. Thank you.
I like that.
Now slide a couple ahead and tell me when you get to the screening room.
Well, because I see there's one that's like there's a golf room with like the screen
with
and you
the
swing
golf simulator.
Because God forbid you go outside.
No, I wait till we get outside.
I don't know if they're in like snow
outside,
country.
Elizabeth.
Is Kevin Costner going to pop out of one of these things? Okay,
so in
I see a screening room.
What do you think about those shiny leather high back recliners, huh? Now, personally, I would have couches. That's something comfy to sit on.
But metallic leather recliners. I mean, it goes with the fake stars on the ceiling.
Yes, but what do I know? I don't have a screening room.
Look at the gym.
Yeah, there you go, the gym.
This could accommodate like 20 people.
It looks like something like you'd find in an upscale business hotel.
It does.
Right?
Like exactly.
And it's the sort of gym equipment that you would use when you're about to be harassed by the sales manager for like some company.
Or I imagine that outside the door, there's like a plaque on the wall that's like, gym equipment by Equinox. Like it's like a spin-off. Ooh.
Now, how about that cave dining area? Did you get to that yet?
Oh, the little grotto outside?
It's like somewhere you'd eat a meal just before you get killed by Benicio del Toro in like a cartel movie.
I wish.
Right?
Wouldn't that be
get to
life?
the tennis courts and the private 3-hole golf range.
Right, I'm looking at the outside. God, this place, it totally looks like a resort where you go for like a corporate retreat and you find out the rooms are supposed to be like $800 a night, but your events person was like, well, don't worry, we got it for like $150. And you're like, I kind of see why.
It's off season.
It smells a little mildewy over on this end of the building. Okay, I see like the grounds.
Do you see? Do you get outside yet? You're outside.
Yeah, I'm outside.
Now, do you see the tennis, the two double tennis courts and the 3-hole golf
honey,
range?
You know that's pickleball. That's not tennis. These people don't play tennis. No offense, pickleballers.
Like, this is the kind of setup you get if you sell missiles by the billions to the U.S. government. You get this house, right?
And
you're
then
like,
you don't
this
have
is
any
defense
taste.
Contractor money.
I mean, this whole thing, it's just so bland.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, like, ostentatious but bland.
Yes, it somehow strikes that really hard to hit balance.
Yeah, if you're going to be the eccentric multimillionaire and have this enormous place, which I don't even know, you're going to have to tell me how many square feet this joint is.
I got all that for you. I know you care about these things.
All I think is like, well, what's your electricity bill? Like,
yeah, you have a whole staff. You're not thinking about the electricity bill.
No, I know, but it's like, if you're going to do that, then like go for it. I like when people have the wacky houses where it's like, it looks really crazy. Like it looks nice and well put together outside, and you go in and then there's one room that's just like bright red and gold and terrifying.
I want people to like do what Elvis did at Graceland, which is just make it your own. Like have a jungle room.
Exactly.
Now that you've seen the dream house, dream castle, Elizabeth,
how many garages does this place have? And then what cars are outside?
If you had to guess, how much would you say this house is worth?
And you said it's in Boise?
Billings.
Okay, so they have a higher market out there because of people like Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Here.
How many acres is it?
I'll break it down for you because you need to know some of the stuff.
Square feet.
Here's a quick rundown of the specs. That place boasts 10 bedrooms, 19 bathrooms. There's 15 full bathrooms, 4 half baths.
It's like you could have 9 friends over 10 and be pooping. Everybody.
Everyone poops at the same time.
You could serve something that makes everyone sick from one of your 15 kitchens. And they're, no, and they all run. You're like, don't worry, we've each got our own bathroom.
Everyone take a bathroom. Your names are outside of your bathroom. So we have this place has a personal and commercial elevators, like for your deliveries, I suppose, or maybe for your staff.
Yeah.
Now, some of the features you've looked at, right? There's 3 pools, 2 outdoors, 1 indoor pool.
Okay.
There's the 2-lane bowling alley, the private theater screening room, the golf simulator, the indoor shooting range. Yes. Of course, there's the wine cellar. There's a full gym with locker rooms, mind you. And Elizabeth, as you noted, since you love to cook, there are multiple kitchens, both indoor and outdoor kitchens, plural. There's the 3-hole golf course and the tennis courts, along with some private hiking trails if you like to get around that way. All in all, this dream castle is 30,843 square feet.
Good
on
gravy.
A 70-acre plot of land.
All right, 70 acres.
And somehow this place is listed as a single-family residence, which I just find hilarious. So now with all that info, Elizabeth, what would you expect to pay for this bad boy? I was so far off. I had no idea.
I have to keep thinking about, like, put it where it is. How many acres? 70?
70-acre plot.
30,000 square foot.
30,000 square foot.
Montana.
Yeah, multiple elevators. Just Own shooting range.
25 million?
Wow, you're good. $26.9 million.
Oh.
And that's $10 million more than it was listed for when it was originally built and purchased.
12 years ago.
Yeah. Now, if you wanted to do an estimated mortgage payment, I looked into this.
I love that.
$159,880 a month.
A month.
Yes.
A month.
Like an insane amount of money for I have a salary. I would be happy with that as my salary for the year.
It would take me multiple years
Yeah.
to pay 1 month.
Yes, exactly. And I forgot to tell you.
Yeah, I'm a little short this month.
You mentioned your man, Kevin Costner. Okay, my man, Kevin Costner.
Your man.
That place is located in Yellowstone County, Montana.
Oh, is it?
In the city of Billings. Yeah. So Yellowstone, Elizabeth Dutton.
Dude, I
Little
told
Beth
you
Dutton
it happened the other day. I was
Yeah.
actually at my mom was visiting, and I was at the airport with her, and someone was like, "Oh, Dutton." It was at the Yellowstone Duttons. And my mom's just like, I was like, "Oh, no, don't say that to her."
Not in front of her.
And she said, "No, but her name's Elizabeth." And the guy was like, "Oh, I'm scared." And I was like, "I've never seen the show. Get stuffed."
Now, speaking of crime in Minnesota, or Montana rather,
Well, we could talk about both.
how much crime would you be willing to do to own this dream castle in Yellowstone County, Montana?
I would say approximately 0.
Yeah, I don't really expect you to have a real answer
It's
for
not
that.
my joint. It's
No.
not my thing. But there are people, I could see how people would covet such a
Right?
place.
But that was the question for our man of the hour. How much crime do I have
much
to
crime?
do to afford
But
this
it's like,
house?
there's going to be a lot of crime. Because again,
yeah.
okay, so it's let's say you get, what is it, 26.9? Or
yeah,
so $27 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I said, okay, so now you got the upkeep.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It ain't cheap.
It's 150 something,
Just the
160
lawn
grand
care.
a month. But
For your 3-hole golf course.
all the maintenance outside, the cleaning crews you'd have to
Totally.
have inside just to constantly
To do
keep
the
it
windows.
circulating. Yeah.
Just to clean the windows would be
And then-
thousands a month.
And then the water bill,
Oh, forget about the water bill. You don't even want to see that.
the HVAC on
Yeah.
those giant rooms that are like 3-story rooms, and it's cold as bejeebers outside when it's snowing,
Oh, yeah.
and you're trapped in there,
Just
and you're
doing
like,
the Overlook Hotel, like The Shining, like in there.
God, I
You
can't
got, like-
do it. I have so much respect for people who can live in snowy places, and I'm
That's
just not
true.
one of them.
No, you are not.
No.
So our man of the hour, he decided the answer to the question of how much crime would he do? All of it. All of the
All
crime,
the crime.
he could.
He's like, give me more.
Now, at present, Elizabeth, this dream castle is still for sale. The listing is not moving.
Yeah, that's a live listing with all those pictures.
It's
yeah.
been on the market for 266 days as of today.
Well, those high-end properties, it's hard to move them. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like if
Especially a cursed
you're
house
like,
like this
me
one.
and you like to poke around, you see that like the crazy properties in like wine country or like San Francisco Pacific Heights, they stay on the market for a really long time.
Oh yeah, sometimes and then they don't even have the decency to take it off after a year. They're like,
No.
oh, we're still hopeful
They're
someone's
like,
going to buy
Elizabeth
it.
probably wants to look at this listing again. She's bored.
So if you do change your mind and you decide to go full Beth Dutton and do crime in Montana,
Sure.
if you're willing to embezzle, say, $20 million, you could make an offer on this rare, one-of-a-kind dream castle.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I might.
So that's what our man of the hour did, who I keep referring to as
Yeah.
our man of the hour.
Who
but
is
who
this
is he?
man?
Great question, Elizabeth.
Golly.
His name is Larry Wayne Price Jr.
Is it Larry Wayne, one word?
No, it's not like
Darn it
Mark
all.
Wayne. Mark
Mark
Wayne. That's how I say it.
It's Mark Quain. That's
Your
how
mama
you,
named you Mark Wayne?
That's how you pronounce it, Mark Quain.
So Larry Wayne, he was a 42-year-old father of 6 at the time of his criming. He was a businessman who worked in the extractive industries that run rampant in Montana.
Okay.
In particular, he ran surface operations for an underground coal mine near Roundup, Montana.
Right. So it's the mineral rights and all that kind
Totally.
of stuff.
You
Not
know how it
extraction
goes.
like clearing people's pores.
No, is that what they call that?
I don't know. I think so.
I'd figure tooth extraction. It's the only other
Oh, there's that
extraction I know
too.
of.
He's just a tooth guy. A yanker.
Big in the dentistry. So Larry Wayne Price Jr. was more than any simple description might convey. Like the man, he contained multitudes, Elizabeth.
Sure, we all do.
For instance, he was the owner-operator of Hog Pit Cycles. That's Hog, Hawg. Hog Pit Cycles. There's a motorcycle shop that sold
it's
Harley Davidsons.
for weekend warriors. It's like he
Yes.
sells the Harley Fat Boys to
Totally.
insurance salesmen.
Yes, exactly.
I know the type.
So that's our man of the day. Real estate appreciator, motorcycle salesman, hog rider, corrupt mining entrepreneur, and business partner to Vladimir Putin's inner circle.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, right? And I forgot he's also a man who decided maybe I should try to fake my own death, or at least his own kidnapping.
Okay.
He's a fun one.
Okay.
This story is about to get all kinds of wild, Elizabeth. But first, let's take a little break now
Yes,
that
sir.
I've broken the ice. And when we're back, we'll hear all about how Larry Wayne Price Jr. liked to get down.
I cannot wait.
And we're back, Elizabeth.
We are back.
You ready to get down and dirty with Larry Wayne?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Where to
yeah.
begin? I guess we should start with the coal industry of Montana, right? I mean,
Are we going to go back to Mehmet?
No, Mehmet the second? No.
Okay,
I'm not
but
gonna
do we have to
that
go back
far.
to like prehistoric times
No,
when the coal?
no. I won't
Okay.
take you back to the 15th century or to the Neolithic period or the Paleolithic or any of that. No, like we will stay in this age.
Okay, good.
Elizabeth, what do you know about coal mining in Montana? And there is no wrong answer. Because personally, my answer is it happens.
That's what
No.
I didn't know that Montana was like a coal mining
I didn't
area.
either. I think of West Virginia. I think of
Sure.
yeah.
And I wouldn't have, I mean, there are plenty of other places, Montana, not one of them. But,
No.
you know,
For a quick case
I
study.
know they find dinosaur stuff
Oh,
there.
big
so,
dinosaur
hello,
bone country, yeah. They're
There-
always digging in the dirt, it
When
seems
you
like in Montana.
smash down the dinosaurs,
Yeah, very active place.
you
The geysers and
you
whatnot.
get fuel.
That's a myth.
No, it's not. Zaron, it's science.
For a quick case study, let's get to know Signal Peak Energy.
Okay.
According to Coal Age magazine,
Oh, I love that magazine.
it's a trade publication that
Yeah.
covers the coal industry, as
It's
you well
so
know
good.
as a subscriber.
The centerfolds? Are you kidding me?
You seen those rocks? Did you
That kind of hurt, that one.
did you like the new tote bag for this year's
Oh, yeah,
subscribers?
totally.
So, from Coal Age magazine, we learned that, quote, Signal Peak Energy operates the Bull Mountains mine near Roundup, Montana. Okay, what else, Coal Age magazine? Well, back to their coverage. Last year, 2023, Signal Peak Energy produced 7.6 million tons, and they were ranked the highest in the U.S. as far as tons per man-hour. Isn't this exciting?
Well, all of the names of stuff are so aggressively masculine,
Yes.
too, of like Hog Rack and Signal Peak and
Yeah, exactly.
like Target Face.
Roundup, Montana.
Roundup.
Now,
Just everyone's got cancer.
I have to admit, I have no idea what most of this means.
It doesn't matter. It sounds great.
So for some context,
Now you know what it's like to be me to go through the day. I have no idea what any of this stuff means.
I recognize these are
I'm
words.
reading it. It's loud and it sounds fabulous.
So for some context, here's Parker Phipps, president and CEO of Signal Peak Energy. And according to old Parker, quote, what makes these stats remarkable is that we did it while mining in 3 different long wall panels. It was a busy year for us. Normally we have a long wall move every 18 months. So
I
long
totally
wall
know
is
what
like
that means.
A
Sure.
strip of coal that's like, a few feet, and it's usually like, underground. And so they
Okay.
cut down till they find this like vein
Like a
of
big-
coal, and it's like
a
few-
mother lode.
There, kind of. So
Kind of like when you're eating ice cream and you get to like the fudge ribbon.
there you go.
There,
I like
I'm
that.
going to
It's a
put it in
perfect
terms that we
metaphor.
all know.
So they
And
had
then what is this guy's name? Flipper?
Parker Phipps.
Parker Phipps.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I ever met him, was like introduced to him,
Mm-hmm.
I would want to just start pulling my hair and screaming, just like at the top of my lungs,
Right in his face.
Yeah, and then they have to
Like you're
escort me out.
possessed.
Yeah,
So since I know you want to know more about long walls
I do.
and why they had to
Long
move
daddies.
the long walls, this was due to environmental impact studies that are required to access federally controlled coal because they're
Not anymore.
They're drilling on federally controlled lands. This is all important because the reason why this was disappointing for Signal Peak Energy was back to Coal Age magazine, and I quote, the restriction on mining federal coal within their mine plan was a setback for a company that was turning the page on legacy management issues. Several years ago, management at the mine was clearly heading in the wrong direction. Now this, Elizabeth, is what we call a sly reference to Larry Wayne Price Jr.
Oh,
Yes, and how he nearly ruined the reputation and business prospects of Signal Peak Energy with his legal shenanigans. Now, to be fair to Signal Peak Energy, it seems to be the sort of business that attracts attract some nefarious characters. And I'm talking coal mining and the extractive industries.
Yeah.
For instance, he was doing business with a man who the Treasury Department claims is a member of Vladimir Putin's inner circle.
Oh, okay, sure.
This
no
requires
problem.
a little context, though.
Yes,
so
please.
back to old Parker Phipps, CEO of Signal Peak Energy.
Oh, he's just spilling it.
In a New York Times story, he was quick to point out to the, quote, tremendous amount of litigation that was filed against the energy company, which was tricky to pursue in court since the company was owned by two shell companies, not one, but two, that acted as an umbrella for many out-of-state, and by out-of-state, I mean foreign co-owners.
Yeah.
So you see, Elizabeth, back in 2008, there was this Ohio-based billionaire, Wayne Boych, owner of Boych Companies. He partnered with First Energy Corporation to buy a coal mine in the Bull Mountains in Montana, which we're discussing. They named their joint venture Signal Peak Energy. Now, 2 years into operation, they brought on another co-owner, the Gunvor Group. I always want to say governor.
Gunvor?
G-U-N-V-O-R, Gunvor Group. That company is a foreign oil commodities trading firm that's registered in Cyprus, so you know they're hinky. Now, the Gunvor Group was co-owned by a man named Gennady Timchenko. He's interesting because he's a Russian oligarch, a billionaire who's a close confidant of Vladimir Putin. He was also instrumental partner for Signal Peak Energy.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
That is...
Zaron, I'm putting the red thread on the wall right now. It's all ties together.
So this was all going great right up until the U.S. State Department placed sanctions on Putin-linked Russian oligarchs like Timchenko.
Yeah.
And thus he had to distance himself from the Gunvor Group. And the U.S. Treasury Department reported that, quote, Putin has investments in Gunvor and may have access to Gunvor funds. So this may literally be money that Putin was pulling out of Montana and personally benefiting from. That's not me saying that. It's the U.S. Treasury Department.
Right.
Anyway, soon enough, the Gunvor Group claimed that Timchenko had absolutely zero involvement with Gunvor in any way. That's their direct quote. Now, at that, and they also had, there were reported connections between Gunvor Group, Timchenko, and Putin, and they claimed that those are old and entirely baseless. So, deal with that what you will.
Bad intel.
Now, meanwhile...
Now, have you seen this window? Please, step forward.
Do you know what defenestrate means? No? You're about to learn. So, meanwhile, there's the American owners, the First Energy and the Boych Group. They were also considered hinky as hell. In 2021, First Energy admitted that the company had been paying millions in bribes to state legislators as well as regulators in order to get approval for a $1 billion bailout intended for nuclear and coal-fired power plants that were aging and needed upgrades. So they're like, hey, we've been bribing the regulators and the legislators to get ourselves this. Now, when the company admitted to this culture of corruption, the prior Department of Justice, not the one that's currently operating under that same name, fined First Energy $230 million for their bribery case.
Yeah.
That was the fine, $230 million. That's just kind of high.
Yeah.
Now, I bring all this up to provide context for why our crimer of the day thought he could maybe wet his beak and embezzle some millions upon millions in order to buy himself a dream castle.
Yeah, they're all doing it.
Right? I mean, so let's get back to Larry Wayne Price Jr.
Yes.
Now, he'd gotten his start in the extractive industries when he worked in the coal fields of Southwest Virginia. Not West Virginia, but Southwest Virginia region.
The southern western region.
Now, then in 2009, when Signal Peak Energy was formed, he took a job with the company and he moved out to Montana. He was like, oh, that's where the action is, right?
Sure.
So he distinguishes himself as this real go-getter. He eventually ascends to the executive suite. He's like, hey, I got my own key to the washroom.
Yeah.
So he's promoted to be a vice president of surface operations. So they don't trust him with like where the money is happening, like underground. He's like moving trucks around and put that pile
logistics.
here. Yeah. So his career, it gets him close in with the then CEO of Signal Peak Energy, a man named Bradley Hanson.
Bradley Hanson,
who this gave him, Larry Wayne Price Jr., lucrative opportunities to cut side deals with Signal Peak Energy because he's in good with the CEO. He's like, oh yeah. So for instance,
Larry Wayne goes for business travel. He flies Spirit and sits down, tosses his
Coal Age magazine,
his Coal Fancy magazine down, and is like, yeah, trying to flex out on
Yeah, let
everybody.
everyone know.
He's got one of those giant Bluetooth things on an earbud.
Let me finish this
AirPod,
call. One
whatever.
second. Guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be great. You want to come out to my John Wick gun range? So Larry Wayne,
Here's wine.
he starts a side business called Three, and then the number Three Solutions. And that company struck deals with, you guessed it, Signal Peak Energy.
1, 2, 3
So
solutions.
he promised to sell the mining company industrial grade chemicals that were used in the mining process. They're
Okay.
so basically the CEO's like, we got this company, but if you started a company and offered us, wherever they're getting whatever.
So be like the middleman for
yeah,
it.
you be a vendor for the company. We
Yeah.
can kick you down, right? So Price, he does this, starts Three Solutions. Meanwhile, Larry Wayne grew increasingly integral to Signal Peak Energy as an executive because he also becomes privy to industry secrets like how a fellow Signal Peak vice president in charge of underground operations, the VP, so he's surfaced.
He's like big dog.
This is
yeah.
a guy who's like actually, hitting the coal with a
Yeah.
pick.
They have him down there in the mines.
This is a guy named Dale Lee Musgrave.
Okay, Dale.
I'm
Lee.
saying all their full names like they're like
Like serial
presidential
killers?
assassins. Yeah, exactly. So Dale Lee Musgrave.
Well, because you don't want like Dale John Musgrave to hear this and be like, that's not me.
Yeah, leave me
I'm
out
just
of
a
this."
rude dude. I'm just innocently listening while I go to rob a bank. See?
So Dale Lee Musgrave, he was forcing employees to falsify reports about mine safety because he was in charge of the underground operations
Right.
where all the danger was.
And the raves.
So he relied on a time-tested mix of threats and bribes to ensure the mine's operations had, quote, the veneer of an outstanding safety record.
Zaron, it takes money to make money.
Now, that's not me saying that. That's the Department of Justice.
The veneer.
Yes.
Nice. I like
so
that.
back in 2018, while Larry Wayne Price Jr. was still with the company, the DOJ discovered that Musgrave had gone so far as to bribe an employee not to report that the employee's finger had been crushed while he was loading mining material.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but I'm laughing at it.
Well, yeah, you won't laugh now because the finger had to be amputated.
Aw.
Yep. To keep things hush-hush, Musgrave gave the man $2,000 in cash.
Only $2,000?
Small price for a finger,
they're
right?
talking about $1 million bribes,
Yes.
$1 billion contract.
like,
Which finger was
Let me
it?
break you off. I don't know which finger. It was one of the 10. So-
What if it was his middle finger and he can't flip
he
people
can't-
off anymore?
He can no longer cuss with his fingers.
Remember his kids say flick people off?
It
drives me
bothered-
nuts.
Yeah, I
That's
hated
a pet
that. I don't know
peeve.
why, but it just bothered
Pet
me.
peeve. If you lose your index finger, that's big bad.
Or
right
your
there.
thumb. That's the real bad one to lose.
That is because
We're
then you
talking
don't
fingers.
have the. Well, what if he loses his pinky
No
and then when he
opposable
goes
grip.
to drink tea, get out of here.
You can't let people know he's delicata.
No, and then he looks like a brute. Anyway, go
So
ahead.
anyway, this wasn't the only trouble Musgrave got into while a VP at Signal Peak Energy.
I'm gonna get you a Signal Peak Energy hoodie.
You see, while the federal investigators were doing their due diligence to investigate the mine and its hinky operations, they spotted FedEx delivery drivers dropping off a suspiciously large number of packages at Musgrave's house. And I'm talking like, according to the DOJ, 27 deliveries over a few months. And I know, Elizabeth, you may be hearing that number and thinking, that's not a lot of packages. Amazon
It's
guys
not.
drop
You be
off
quiet.
that
You
many
bite your tongue.
for me in 1 month period.
Just because you saw my front stoop once that had
Covered
a
in
good
boxes.
number of boxes.
And then it came back like a week later. Same
It's not.
thing.
It's stuff for my house. It's for my dogs. It's dog treats.
I'm going to say nothing.
It's maybe a paint by numbers kit that I ordered. You know, girls
You're-
got to have hobbies.
You're a woman of mystery. So
I am.
the feds, they
Not.
thought 27 packages over a few months was a lot.
Well, back off.
right? So-
Back off, G-Man.
so-
Mind your own business.
Just
Worry
hope-
about yourself.
I hope that the feds never see your stoop.
God,
You're getting an
seriously,
investigation
so
right away.
seriously.
So the 27 packages from FedEx, they seem sus. So one day the feds, they grab one of the packages, just to see what sort of stuff Musgrave was having delivered to his house.
Timu.
Turns out in the package they nabbed, the federal investigators found baggies of cocaine.
Wait,
not
he was-
one, baggies of cocaine.
No, I don't have that.
Yeah, it turns out the executive was engaging in some light cocaine trafficking.
When having it like UPS
Yes.
drop it off at the
Yes.
door.
If they live out in the middle of nowhere, like rural places, so they
Sure.
can't like pop into the city, they're like, just send it to my house.
Just FedEx me the coke.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
So,
I mean, I'm like, but also to defend myself a little bit further.
please.
I need a lot of that cardboard for my garden.
Oh, this is true.
So, okay,
Yeah,
back
fair.
off,
Yeah,
buddy.
I don't know. I take it all back.
The
I
interns
retract.
eat a lot of chicken jerky, human grade, as it says
On the
creepily on the
packaging.
bag. And I also have a bag of chicken hearts in the. Okay, anyway.
You know what?
Anyway.
You're only doing good.
But there's no cocaine in any of it.
your packages.
No.
So there's that. Now, I bring all this up as evidence that for many
Does
folks.
Chewy deliver cocaine?
I don't think so. Maybe dog cocaine?
Oh, God.
Just for like numbing teeth. I
That'd be
mean, that's like
terrible.
xylocaine, right?
Yeah.
So I bring all this up, Elizabeth, as evidence that many folks involved with signal peak energy were on the hinky side.
Yo, you think?
And, but appearances can be deceiving, right? And then they were good at keeping their crimes swept under the rug right up until
It's all for
they
dental
found the
use.
baggies of cocaine.
Yeah.
So, obviously this also included big ticket items that they were covering up, like overseas money laundering. There was medium-sized crimes that they were covering up, like a little light cocaine trafficking. And then there were smaller crimes like mining safety infractions and lost fingers.
Oh, yeah. I still, $2,000 for a finger.
I know, it was
I would have
offensive.
pulled that guy aside and been like, look, pal.
How much would you want for a finger?
For
Any
a
finger,
finger?
like not your thumb.
Like if I lost my, let's say like I lost my index
index.
finger.
Let's go with index, yeah.
Doing this show, I'd go to Admiral iHeart.
Yes, what would you demand?
And I would hold a knife to his throat.
With your good hand.
No, I could still do it. And then I think I would want like at a minimum $1 million.
Wow, you really value your digits.
I have magic fingers.
Apparently.
What if
What
I
are you,
wanted
a hand model?
No, not in the slightest. My hands are pretty beat up. But what if I learned to play the piano? What if Malcolm Gladwell's like at 10,000 hours and you're a genius?
Once again, another myth.
No.
But go on.
And anyway, so I could, and then what if I could have gone on to like write the greatest piece of piano work
Sure. We
and
all
perform
lose
it
out.
and then bring peace to the planet because everyone hears it and they're like, that's the most
we should give
beautiful
her
thing.
all of our money.
It's missing some of the notes because Homegirl doesn't have one of her fingers.
Jerry Garcia didn't have all his fingers. He played guitar.
But it was his middle finger.
Hey, I'm not telling you. They're all one finger
and
to
it
me.
was it was like only part of it. Anyway, listen to me.
Yes.
Like I would be yelling at Admiral iHeart and like putting my thumb to gouge out his eyeball
Run me my check.
and be like, I want $1 million for my missing finger.
Or you do what?
I'm gonna poke your eyes out and feed them to you, and then stick this knife where the sun don't shine.
Signal peak energy.
Hypothetically,
Of course.
Admiral,
You're safe.
I say this with love and respect, and I'm just joshing you, but I swear to God.
Elizabeth, I don't know about you, but whenever I hear about like oil and gas or coal or just really any mining, I tend to think of corruption and crime. It's kind of historically associated with
any
that.
petrochemical.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, like it's just like
Yes.
whether we're talking about like President Grant's problems with like or
completely.
like the Rockefeller family,
Everything.
like it's pretty much like you name one, you're like, oh, that's some hinky ass stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, but setting aside the historical examples, all right, I can say that the extractive industries are not a business where I expect to find the best folks with good morals. I'll just leave it at that, right?
No.
And, once again, because of the industry's long history of flagrant criminality. But keeping true with tradition, at Signal Peak Energy, crime was the standard of the day. That is, if an executive was creative enough and willing enough to see it through. And that was the lesson that this ambitious striver and corporate climber, Larry Wayne Price Jr., took to heart from his time as an executive at Signal Peak Energy.
Larry Wayne.
He was like, if they can do it, why can't
Why
I?
not?
Just a boy from Virginia with a dream. I also want to get rich, and I'm willing to do crime to get there.
Dance belt and a tube of chapstick.
So Price, he starts at the company in 2009, as we covered. By 2014, he was already building his dream castle.
Oh, he built that place?
Yes, built it.
Oh, no wonder.
Right?
Like that.
Yes. Now, we don't know
Is
exactly.
that where all the coke was getting delivered?
Yeah, he was covering that. I don't know, though.
All on like the front porch.
I got to stick to the facts I do know in this
Let's
case.
just
We can
say,
speculate. But
I just like to make things
we don't know
up.
exactly what all crimes he was involved in before, say, 2016. But because of the Department of Justice, I can tell you after 2016, the crimes that he was definitely
They're pretty
involved in.
precise, or they used to be.
Yeah, between October 2016 and April of 2018, we do know that Price managed to embezzle $20 million from 3 coal-related companies.
$20 million.
And the house cost a lot, so I think it got more than that. But they could just nail him on the $20 million.
That's every finger for 2 people.
Yes, exactly. So one of the companies had this fun wink-wink name of Three Blind Mice, LLC.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, there was another company called 90M LLC. And of course, there was Signal Peak Energy. So the story goes, based on his role as a key VP in charge of surface operations and owner of Three Solutions, don't forget that.
Oh, yeah.
His company was able to supply industrial chemicals to his employer so he could embezzle from that end, which means he was robbing Signal Peak Energy. And
to pay Paul.
he developed his reputation around Billings that he was a coal mining expert, an insider's insider, because he's like close with the CEO.
And a coal miner's daughter.
True enough,
that
right?
Too.
No, he leveraged his reputation to convince Three Blind Mice to lend him $7.5 million. Now, if you asked him, Price would say that his company, Three Solutions, had won a contract with a Pennsylvania coal company to install coal mining equipment.
Okay.
And in order to finish that project, he just needed $7.5 million, which Three Blind Mice was only too happy to loan him.
Sure.
And they were going to be paid back with interest and, extra amounts. So he would have to pay them back $11 million.
$11 million.
Yeah, he planned to make money on this deal. And he's like, I'll cut you in.
Sure.
Now, if you ask Three Blind Mice what happened, they would say Price stole the money outright. Now, we know that Three Blind Mice signed an unsecured promissory note and wired $7.5 million to Three Solutions.
Okay.
Larry Wayne's company.
That's an idiot move.
Yes, with a payback date of January 31st, 2018. And when that date came and went, Price did not and had not paid the promised $11 million.
Yeah.
When the feds looked into this, they found that there was no deal with the Pennsylvania coal operation for Three Solutions to install coal mining operations. What had happened was Price spent the $7.5 million.
Sure.
Probably on a bowling lane, maybe a 3-hole golf course.
Exactly.
Now, as for 90M LLC, the investors in that company appointed Price as a representative of 90M. They're like, yeah, tell him you work with us, you work for us, so that he could go out and help them purchase a coal mine in Virginia, where Larry Wayne is from, and help them develop into a cash-making operation. They're like, yeah, get us rich on what you know. You're an insider, man.
You're connected.
So as well, they also had some other business ventures that they had cooking. So all in all, Price helped them with 5 business deals worth roughly $13.5 million for Price.
If they existed.
Yeah. No, these were good, kind of, because when investigators looked into it, they found that $10.475 million of that 13.5 was, quote, fraudulently obtained.
Oh.
So it wasn't all hinky, Elizabeth.
There's
Only
little bit.
10.4 million of it. Oops. And then there was his day-to-day employer, Signal Peak Energy, where Price worked as a VP of surface operations. Now, he stole from his main job, too, because that house ain't going to build itself.
Of course not.
He did this by initiating fraudulent deals to purchase coal mining equipment from a vendor that he knew could not provide said coal mining equipment. So the firm he selected for the deal, they kicked him back $2.4 million to Price's company, Three Solutions. Real simple paper trail, but there it was. So all of his shady dealings came to a head in April of 2018 when the investors from 90M LLC checked the deals and they began to question the transactions with Price and his company, Three Solutions. So what do? They call up Price and they're like, hey man, where's our money? Right. You're like months behind on your, remember January 31st?
Sure.
So they're like, it's April, man.
Sure.
So by this point, Price was no longer in Montana. He was living in Virginia. He'd returned to his home state, but it wasn't impossible to find where he was living. The folks from 90M they were able to find him, and they sent representatives to get their money back from Price.
Now, these representatives have Russian accents.
Yeah, right? If this was street crime, the amount of money he would been we're talking about is enough to get a man killed.
Oh, yeah,
right?
easily.
Like when we're sending our representatives, the fact they even told him meant that they kind of expected to get something as opposed to just like... So I don't know how it goes in the coal industry. I won't speculate, but I imagine they also start getting murderous notions in their minds when they get robbed for millions of dollars. However, as I said, a dead man can't pay you back.
That's right. That is true.
These coal investors, they still had plans to get their money back before they did any grievous harm to Larry Wayne. Now, the Larry Wayne Price Jr. may have had a different read of things because he asked a woman he knew in Virginia if he could hide out at her place.
Can we hide at your house?
She agreed. Now, that's when Price came up with this big, beautiful plan to skate out on the investors that he had robbed and to keep all the money he'd embezzled from the various coal mining operations back in Montana.
Was he just hoping they were crooked enough to not, like, go to the feds?
I don't think he thought this through, but you'll figure that out real quick.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, like, my question was, was cocaine involved in this decision making? Because it sure feels like it.
Yeah, it sure does.
But anyway, his next plan, Elizabeth, I tell you, is a certified humdinger. So let's take a little break, listen to some ads, and after these messages from Signal Peak Energy, we'll get into Larry Wayne Price Jr.'s plan to get free.
Nice.
We're back, Elizabeth.
Yes, we are.
So we've got coal mining insider Larry Wayne
Price
Jr.,
yeah.
who tried to pull off some big boy embezzling, but he was sloppy about it. Investors, or marks, however you want to look at it, they get robbed. They start asking questions, not liking the answers that they weren't getting.
Yeah.
They sent representatives out to either confront Price in Virginia or get their money back, wherever, or find out where he'd fled to in order to get back their stolen millions.
Sure.
But Larry Wayne had a plan. What was his plan? Great question,
Run
Elizabeth.
for it.
I haven't mentioned her yet, but Price was married.
Okay.
This matters because he was also making moves to avoid his spurned investors with another woman.
Yeah, that's what I wondered when you said
the woman in Virginia.
He's building this 30,000 square foot home, and I don't think it's a bachelor pad.
No.
He probably has a grip of kids too.
Yeah, I didn't look too far into that. He did have some, but I think I mentioned up top. Now, someone whom he rented a house from in Virginia while he was like on the lam, if you will. That's who he decided, the woman. He's like, oh, I'm working with her. He's like, remember, it's like, hey, can I hide out?
I hide at your house?
Now, meanwhile, he called his wife and was like, I really need you to help me. I'm in trouble. I'm in a bad way. And he asked her to help him out. And she was like, okay, baby, or whatever she said.
Yeah.
So on April 14th, 2018, Price's wife called the Bluefield, Virginia Police Department at 1:58 in the morning.
Okay.
And she reported her husband missing.
Honey.
The local PD sprang into action, along with the Tazewell County Sheriff's Office. And these
Tazewell? They're like, we're good at it. What can we say?
Exactly. So the two law enforcement agencies, they initiate a missing persons investigation, as one does. And this soon expands to include the Virginia State Police, because they're like, we got time. So they bring in helicopter search and rescue teams. They also bring in canine search units. Like, they make this a real priority. We're going to find Larry Wayne.
I wish they would have done it like they would treat most people, like, well, did he have a history of running away?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's just see if he shows up.
Yeah. Have you called all the hospitals? So they bring in the bloodhounds, Elizabeth, and it shouldn't have been too hard to find this missing man since Bluefield, Virginia is located, it's like right there in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yeah.
It's a town of less than 10,000 people.
Okay.
But somehow all these, state police, local sheriffs, and local police, they couldn't find Larry Wayne.
He done got gone.
Yeah, he done run off.
RUNNOFT.
Through using modern methods of pinging cell phone towers, as opposed to just relying on the bloodhounds, like yelping into the forest. The multi-agency
and a tracker, like looking at the feet.
Yeah, exactly. These are fresh. You can tell by the edges
touching
of
the ground and then licking it and then holding their finger to the air. That's how you find people, Zaron.
You look for snap branches and stuff.
Yes.
So the multi-agency.
Yes, you've obviously been doing this a long time, as have I. Did he leave hair on the branches as he walked by? Is he a Yeti? Yes. Give me the bloodhound.
So this multi-agency task force, they find Price's white Mercedes with Montana plates. It had been abandoned in a parking lot.
Ooh, tell him Pablo sent you. Is it white?
Naturally, this was concerning for the law enforcement tasked with finding this missing coal mining executive. But then they received some good news. A driver noticed a man standing on the side of the road in the dark of night. And he was near this town of Groton, Virginia. I think it's Groton.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that place.
Yeah. Law enforcement, they rush out to the reported sighting and they find Larry Wayne Price Jr. He's alone.
Oh.
And he looks like he's been through it.
Oh,
and
Larry Wayne.
In his pockets, though, he has $3,744. So he hadn't been like robbed or mugged or anything. But, they take Price to the local hospital because he looks a little roughed up. And that's where officers from the Bluefield PD interview him.
Yeah.
They were not alone because the FBI also wanted to interview him.
Oh, boy.
Yes, and then the IRS. But we'll get to that. First the FBI. But rather than me just tell you about this FBI investigation, Elizabeth, I'd like you to close your eyes.
My eyes are closed.
I'd like you to picture it. Elizabeth, it's a quiet day in an FBI interrogation room, and at the moment, you are busy because you are Larry Wayne Price Jr.'s concept of shame. Now, as the overhead fluorescent lights buzz with that insistent hum, you flit about the room, hoping to find a place to land and do what you do, which is inspire a person to feel shame. However, in this instant, as in many moments in the past, you cannot find a welcome home in the consciousness of the man being interrogated by the FBI. The perp, seated across from the field agents, is unwilling to allow you to find purchase. And so you continue to beat your tiny wings as you flit about, guided by the hope that perhaps at some point in his interrogation, Larry Wayne Price Jr. will allow you to whisper your message such that he might listen to your urgings and experience what any other human being would recognize as shame. You hear Price as he answers the field agent's questions. You hope that he'd know better than to lie to the FBI, but clearly he does not. Despite the circular nature of the FBI's questions, making him repeat himself over and over again, Price sticks to his ludicrous story. He repeats that he was abducted by two members of an outlaw biker gang. He describes how they held a rag to his face, and as he inhaled, he began to feel kind of funny. You cast an eye towards the FBI agents. They don't seem to be buying this story. You flit closer to see if perhaps you can now convince him to experience a moment of shame and finally come clean. But he waves you away, and you flit about, frustrated. A field agent takes a sip of coffee that's growing colder by the minute. They've been at it a while. The FBI guy asks Price to go back to the moment when he first saw the outlaw bikers. Price sighs, annoyed, and then he launches into his cover story. He says that he was looking to sell a motorcycle. He was contacted by a man who was previously unknown to him. The prospective buyer asked to meet Price so that he could see the bike and maybe take it for a test drive. Price says that he agreed to the meetup. He says they planned to meet at a local park, and then the buyer could take the motorcycle for a ride. When he arrived at the park, he rode up on the motorcycle. Then he saw the prospective buyer pull into the parking lot. The buyer arrived in a windowless cargo van, and he wasn't alone. Another man was with him. Both men were white and looked like outlaw bikers. You roll your eyes at all the details Price adds to his story. Even if he won't or cannot, you experience shame for him, a sort of secondhand embarrassment. Price goes on with his story. He tells the FBI investigators that the passenger in the windowless cargo van had a gun, and he aimed it at Price. In response, he froze in place. That allowed the two men to hop out of the van and approach him where he was seated on the hog, aka his motorcycle for sale. You draw closer again, hoping that now perhaps you can whisper something in his ear and inspire him to feel the sweet release of shame that might free him from his obvious lies. But again, he waves his hand as if to wave away a mosquito. You retreat. Price goes on with his story. He says that the second man, the one with the gun, held a rag to his face. It was clearly soaked with some sort of chemical, one that made him feel disoriented and drowsy, and then he sort of blacked out. When he comes to, he's in some unknown location. It's a darkened room, and he was seated on the floor. Apparently, the two outlaw bikers didn't want him conscious yet, so they put the rag to his face again, and again he felt disoriented and dizzy, and then he blacked out again. When he awoke a second time, he was in a familiar place. He was in the bike shop he owned in West Virginia. He proudly says the name of his bike shop, Hog Pit Cycles, as if that'll impress the FBI agents. It does not. When you check their faces, it does not seem to impress them in the least. Instead, they ask Price, what happened next? Price says he wasn't sure, but apparently the two outlaw bikers had taken his keys to the shop because they opened up the place and they dragged him inside. Once inside, they opened the store safe. You roll your eyes so hard that you risk bruising them or perhaps having them fall out of your fairy head. You wonder to yourself if this man is capable of feeling shame at all. You think that as you hear Price describe for the FBI agents with great detail how the two outlaw bikers searched his pockets and they took his pocket knife. They also stole his 9mm SIG firearm. The FBI agents play along and you hear one say, "Okay, what happened next?" Price acts like the FBI agents might finally be believing him, so he goes on and describes how the two outlaw bikers threatened him. Then they dragged him out of his bike shop and threw him back into the windowless cargo van. Then the two outlaw bikers drove him out into the country, back across the border between West Virginia and Virginia. When they were in the middle of nowhere, they pulled over and they made him get out. You've given up on introducing any sense of shame to Price. Clearly, he has no ability to experience such emotions. You hear the FBI agents ask him what the outlaw bikers did next. Price is quick to answer. He says they left him there on the side of the road alone, and they drove off. The FBI agents nod, and then they say, "Okay, let's start again at the beginning." You decide you can't listen to any lies anymore, and you flit right out of the room, hoping to find someone else who might actually benefit from you and the gift of experiencing a moment of shame.
Oh my God, that was so beautiful.
So there you go, Elizabeth. That was the ordeal as Price reported it. Now remember, the investors he robbed did send representatives to confront Price and to get back the money they ripped off. Did they send two outlaw bikers to get their money back?
Did they send the cast of Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, exactly.
Like rolling up in a van. Like he's just basically detailing an episode.
Totally. It's like the last thing he watched. So, Elizabeth, this could have been true. Who knows? I mean, I highly doubt it.
You're a very, very generous man.
Mostly because over time, Price's story tended to change. No, it didn't tend, it did. It just flat out changed. Like a child who's lying, he kept adding more and more wild new details and colorful embellishments.
Yeah.
At first, he told the detectives from Bluefield that he'd been kidnapped by the two unknown assailants, and they drugged him and taken him to his motorcycle shop, and presumably his abduction may have been related to, quote, a debt he owed.
Okay.
Later, he added the details with the FBI about the two men were outlaw bikers, but not just any old outlaw bikers.
Oh.
Soon enough, they were members of the Pagans, the outlaw biker gang that's in a turf war with the Hells Angels.
Yeah, and then, like, all of those guys are under constant surveillance.
Yes.
Like, this is...
So it was the sort of detail that someone who likes to read about outlaw biker news stories like me was like, what? So at this point, by including the Pagans, as you point out, they would have been under surveillance most likely, but he thought it might help explain why he was taken to his motorcycle shop after he had the rag held to his face and all that, and he was drugged with whatever they applied to the rag.
Yeah.
But there was one problem with this new wrinkle in his story. While his storefront, Hog Pit Cycles, did not have security cameras, it was not the only business in that block. And so the other businesses did not show members of the Pagans forcing him to do anything.
Right.
Because obviously he couldn't have the footage of him unlocking his safe and giving them whatever was inside because he doesn't have surveillance cameras inside his business. But showing up to the business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the other businesses did have security cameras, and the footage they recorded did not corroborate his story. Oops.
Oopsies.
Now, guess old Larry Wayne Price Jr. didn't think this far into his story.
Yeah.
And so when he was confronted with the security footage from other businesses, Price changed his story again. Meanwhile,
he's like, did I say pagans?
Yeah.
No, I meant that I am a pagan. That's my religion. You didn't hear me correctly.
He claimed that he really wanted to help the FBI with their investigations.
Yeah, I bet.
He wanted to help find the real criminals who'd done this.
Let's find the real killers.
So to do that, he provided a motive for the outlaw bikers. So according to Price, he had connections with a railroad line.
Wait.
And the outlaw bikers, the alleged pagans, they wanted to use his railroad connections so they could transport meth by rail.
Well, that's the next frontier for people who have highly portable means of transportation.
Like motorcycles. They're like, can we put this on a train?
No, I'd like to put it on a fixed track.
On a freight train.
That is in a highly regulated industry.
I'm moving a lot of meth. I need something like a boxcar.
I mean, are you kidding me?
So they demanded, according to him, that he give them schedules for the coal trains so that they could use those to traffic their meth. Like, can we just put it underneath the coal? No one looks past the top of the coal, right?
Oh, he wants to. Okay, I see what they're saying. saying. Wow.
So you see, now it all makes sense.
Well, yeah, of
totally legit. It was
slam dunk.
Very overly complicated plan for drug smugglers, but whatever.
That's so
Maybe
perfect.
it's something the FBI would bite on. He was so pleased with this news story, he repeated it to the IRS.
Well, there's something like in the back of his mind. He's like, how can I cut down on this UPS bill that I've got? You know what? What if I had people send me Coke on the trains? Underneath the coal.
Underneath the coal. And they're coming.
That's the way.
Because we mine coal. Of course we'd have,
They're like, yeah, but the coal wouldn't be coming to you. Oh, yeah, good point.
Right. Darn. Okay, I need to think this through.
The equipment, put it in the excavator.
And Elizabeth, what do we always say about lying to the FBI?
Do not do it. Don't do it.
Don't lie to the FBI.
Don't lie to the FBI.
It's a felony all by itself.
Throw the IRS in there too.
So it turns out there were no outlaw biker gangs. No pagans were involved in the making of this lie.
What?
Meanwhile, we know this because according to news outlet KRTV, FBI investigators did find someone to help corroborate his story, a local Virginia woman who worked at a restaurant. And she told them that she and Larry Wayne Price Jr. had been intimate and they were all booed up.
Loved it.
Yeah, and so while they would be kissing and canoodling, sometimes talk would turn to how Larry Wayne could disappear. And I don't mean the Invisible Man.
No.
Yeah, I mean disappear like fake his death and run off with her and all the money he'd stolen from the coal industry.
I feel like if someone says, I think I can fake my death and run off with you.
Yes, with millions of dollars I stole from...
I'm going to tell you right now, as enticing as that may be, anyone within earshot.
Before you start picking out your shoes.
I swear to God, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. And then we're going to be yucking it up about you. Yes. Always keep that in the back of my mind. Am I going to do something that these two goofballs are going to make fun of me for?
You don't want to do that.
Don't do it.
So according to this local waitress, around the same time that Price was reported missing, the waitress popped over to Walmart where she bought some Red Bulls, some Cokes, along with some chips, as well as underwear, socks, and towels.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds good.
Right? So everything
that's
you would need
Walmart haul
for a road trip
it's great
or
value.
Perhaps a prolonged stay in cheap motels that don't have good towels.
She wants some fresh honey pants.
So once they gathered up their bug out supplies from Walmart, she also went and purchased
Ponies and towels and Red Bull.
And chips.
Okay.
It's a bag of Fritos, some Red Bulls. Some clean underwear.
That's living.
I don't want to have any Hershey Highway home when I'm on the run. Only clean boxers from now on out.
He's going to be promised her the world, and this is what she gets.
So she went out and also purchased a new burner cell phone so they could contact people and start their new life together on the lam.
Excellent. And probably bought it with a credit card or a debit card.
Well, she definitely bought it with there's surveillance cameras.
Because we know about it. Hello, we're talking about it.
So then she went and she waited for Price at her father's house in Tazewell County, which was unoccupied at the time. Not the county, her father's house. Now, interestingly, Price was
just emptied out for it.
Price was spotted on the side of the road that night that she went to her father's house to wait for him, and he was discovered just 2 miles away from that same home.
Oh, really?
Like he might have been walking there and just happened to be spotted by somebody who was driving the old country roads.
Wow.
Elizabeth, he was so close.
So close.
Just 2 miles between him and freedom and a bunch of Fritos
and some Red Bulls. And wearing her underpants.
And then some pain in the neck innocent bystander gets in the way.
Yes.
So once the law had the evidence of his plans to cut and run with the local waitress, Price was no longer seen as the victim of a crime, and rather he was the perp.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was arrested on May 10th, 2018, charged with federal crimes.
Oh.
And he was bonded out at $500,000 on a secured bond. He was given a GPS ankle monitor because he was a flight risk.
Sure.
And in the meantime, the federal investigators looked into what all was going down at Signal Peak Energy.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, no.
That resulted in more federal charges.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you included Larry Wayne, there were 9 executives at Signal Peak Energy and along with their associates, who were charged with federal crimes thanks to this guy getting caught.
This is why when you get your PG&E bill, your electrical bill, and you see it like, oh, okay, this is what I'm paying for.
Also, if you're hanging out...
Various criminals in the energy sector.
Totally. Their hankiness is why your bill goes up.
Yes.
That and the AI data center. So
well, there's that too.
This group, this den of bad, greedy men, right?
Unbelievable. You said 9 executives?
9 executives.
How big was this company?
And their associates. I just said 9 executives from Signal Peak Energy. From other companies companies
but I
too.
got the impression Signal Peak wasn't enormous, and
No,
so it's basically
there's like a lot of
everybody.
them, yes.
And they're like, the executive assistant, your executive, we'll put you in that list too.
So when Larry Wayne gets grilled by the feds, he insists that he was just one bad apple and a bunch of rotten apples. So he claimed that his boss, the former president and CEO of Signal Peak Energy, old Brad Hansen, who I mentioned earlier, was the real mastermind behind all of the embezzlement and the $1 million thefts from business partners.
Larry Wayne.
He taught me.
Larry Wayne didn't want to do it.
No. He told me you start 3 solutions and then you can just milk this place.
You forced him.
Larry Wayne claimed that there was a culture of crime at Signal Peak Energy.
No.
And that he was but one cog in a truly corrupt machine, right? Unfortunately for him and for justice, Hansen, the former CEO, died at his Florida home in 2020 before he could be questioned and stand trial to corroborate if any of this was true.
Yeah.
Now, as for Signal Peak Energy, the company was fined for, according to the New York Times, quote, failing to report worker injuries and for illegally dumping toxic slurry, chemicals, and unprocessed soil containing heavy metals, arsenic, and lead into an abandoned section of the mine.
Bunch more of them 2 stacked fingers.
There was also a bunch of lawsuits filed by locals and environmentalists because they had been basically breaking all of the regulations.
It sounds like it.
And so the water was bad for the locals.
They drained the
cows
reservoir
that the ranchers were dealing with, they're dying.
Oh yeah, but they drained the reservoir 3 feet of fingers.
Just all
That's where they were throwing the fingers.
And a couple toes. Now, I don't know about you,
many.
Elizabeth, but I don't think $1 million fine is going to correct this sort of culture of corruption.
No.
If anything, it'll kind of be priced in as just another cost of doing business.
It takes money to make money.
I say this because, as the New York Times noted, and I quote, industry experts say the criminal activity points to a bigger mystery. Despite the embezzlement and despite the coal industry's protracted decline, the company has been able to survive. Many of Signal Peak's better positioned industry peers lost money on coal exports and went bankrupt. So what's Signal Peak Energy's big secret?
Yeah.
Might it be international money laundering? Because remember the whole Putin inner circle thing?
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Now, to point out, one energy financial analyst from the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis, a gentleman named Clark Williams Derry, he told the Times, quote, never quite made sense to me. How did Signal Peak Energy even stay afloat? Now, like I said, I'm no energy sector insider, nor I am some coal mining expert, but I do know crime. And may I suggest that the Putin crony, as I just did, the member of his inner circle, that's the big red flag for me that, you want to know how they stayed in business?
I'll tell you.
I got it for you. Check the Panama Papers.
Yes.
No, so basically transnational corruption. I mean, do I have to spell it out, New York Times? But these folks, they have plenty of money to burn, right? All kinds of illegal flows of capital.
Yeah.
What do they care about the economic health of the mining industry or even environmental laws?
Means nothing.
All in all, once he was in court, Larry Wayne Price Jr. confessed that thanks to a scheme of overbilling and fake equipment sales and whatnot, he was able to steal roughly $40 million in total.
Wow.
He was eventually convicted for his crimes, and in October of 2020, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison.
That's it.
Plus 3 years of probation after his prison sentence was complete. The question for me is, will that prison sentence be enough to dissuade any future Larry Waynes?
Absolutely not.
And from attempting similar schemes?
Absolutely not. He won't do the full 5.
No.
He'll get a job coming out because it's not like part of the sentence is that you're forbidden from working in the energy industry.
Totally.
So he'll just get another gig.
No, it seems like fines and prison time, as I said earlier, just another cost to factor in as a price of doing business.
Yeah.
Like, you got a 5-year sentence? Cool,
sure.
All right? Because it's going to be like, low security prison and whatnot. So it's not like he's going to have to worry about getting stabbed up by anybody inside. Yeah. Anyway, so also, if a person is able to successfully offshore their ill-gotten gains, this is just like a 5-year vacation, and they go off to get to be rich and wherever they want around the world. Mm-hmm. Now, if it weren't for his local waitress/accomplice coming clean about her involvement,
poor little pigeon,
justice might never have happened because it was difficult to make this case until she came forward.
Good for her.
So, and also, not all these guys are as dumb as old Larry Wayne. So, like, some of them don't have the waitress getting them the clean chonies.
Right,
so
right, yeah.
He was like, what our dream, baby? Now, meanwhile, there was that dream castle, including the moat and the stone tower and whatnot, the indoor shooting range, the golf simulator, the bowling alley, the screening room, indoor, outdoor kitchens. By the way, once again, as I pointed out, still for sale.
Yeah.
So if you're willing
It's out there.
to concoct some illicit international business and see if you want to swing it, this could be yours.
Oh, perfect.
Elizabeth, I got to ask a question to you now. What's our ridiculous takeaway here?
These people are crooked. And I say, and it's like, I gesture wildly. These people are crooked. What's yours?
The current administration might look favorably on someone who tries to pull off some crimes of this nature.
Homie's getting a pardon.
As long as they're willing to kick a bribe up the ladder.
He's getting a pardon.
So,
let's be real.
like if you're going to read the wind, now's the time to make these moves, apparently.
Let's be real.
So there you go.
Let's be real.
So you in the mood for a talk back to wash this all down?
I always am.
Oh my God, did he just say that?
OMG.
Dark Becca here. I tell kids stories almost weekly, and I always have them close their eyes to help them from being distracted. And then one day I was like, you know what Zaron and Elizabeth would do? They'd say, close your eyes. And the kids would say back, my eyes are closed. And then they'd say, picture it. And so that's what I do now with the kids.
Okay, so those are now the coolest kids.
That is so
because they're quoting us, quoting Dre.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That is so...
I love that. It's effective though, right?
Very effective.
Like to center yourself and to Becca.
Dark Becca.
Dark Becca. I am so proud of you.
Hope you're enjoying a great summer of Dark Becca. Or I guess it's still spring.
Dark
Never
Becca,
mind.
though, I think, I don't want us to be Dark Becca and Dark Elizabeth forever. So
Yeah, you guys can position in and out of
you're
it.
doing good work, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, like telling stories to kids.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't like if you're not familiar, you might be like, okay, well, what's that? No, that is like some of the most serious, essential, future building work that anyone can do. And so, Dark Becca. Hats off to you. Thank you for that.
Totally. Big salute. Well, as always, you can find us online, Ridiculous Crime, on Bluesky and Instagram. And we also have Ridiculous Crime Pod, P-O-D, on YouTube if you like to listen to your podcast while you also watch something. It's animation. It's not us, but you can watch them. And there's that. So go there. Go to YouTube. Go to Ridiculous Crime Pod and check it out. And we have our website, ridiculouscrime.com, which, they have, there's merch and there's gifts and there's all sorts of, you can take a survey if you'd like. You can tell us about yourself. We'd love to hear about you. Oh, you can also email us if you want at ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. If you do that, please start at Dear Producer D. Oh, and the talkbacks, obviously the talkbacks. We love the talkbacks. So go to the iHeart app, download it, leave a talkback, and maybe you get to hear your voice here. We'd love to hear it here. So there you go. As always, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next crime.
Yeah.
Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by our resident vice president in charge of subterranean operations, Dave Kustin. And starring Annalise Rucker as Judith. Research is by the shady accountants in charge of cooking our books for regulators and the law, Marissa Brown and Jabari Davis. Our theme song is by our house band, Drill Baby Drill and the $1 Billion Scoundrels, a.k.a. Thomas Lee and Travis Dutton. The host wardrobe provided by Body 500. Guest hair and makeup by Sparkle Shot and Mr. Andre. Executive producers are the inventors of the world's best golf simulator for up-and-coming corrupt executives, Ben Boland and Noel Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.